Hello, hypothetical viewers, and welcome back to Shining Force Final Conflict. This is a very special episode, which I'm actually going back and re-recording after finishing the game because this battle and the next one, in my original recordings of them, had some audio problems, and there was no audio for like half of each of them, which is a problem. So we are going back to replay these. So, if anyone ever actually watches this, it will not be confusing to them what's happening here. It is to me because this is from like the beginning of the game, which was a long time ago for me. It was literally like last year that I recorded this. It's been like half a year. But if I remember correctly, we're fighting Michaela. That we've been doing that the whole game. And we are actually going through that little cave from Shining Force 2, which we used to get to the other half of the continent. Like we were. I actually forget whether it was South or North Parmesha. We're on Parmesha, and I want to say North just because the cave is upwards from where our hometown was, and in video game maps, I'm always thinking that up is North, but that's not how real maps work. It depends on how the map is oriented. So I'm not sure, but we are going that way through the tunnel that in Shining Force 2, we will break open with a cannon or whatever that Road did. So we have to go through, and yeah, that's basically all there is to this. It's a battle where we're going through a tunnel to fight, what's his name, the little pig goblin dude, which any hypothetical viewers will know his name because he is the current boss that we're fighting. Let's see, we've got some worms, some green ooze, the brass loader. Oh, this is so weird for me because I literally just finished the game, so I had every party member, everyone was fully leveled and promoted and everything, and it's like, Blaster in the past, Dark Mages, oh, they had Blaze 2 at this point. Dark Smoke has Blaze 1. At least they don't have the Confuse spell like in Shining Force 2. That sucked. The enemies all clustered in the middle. If I remember right, you're not supposed to go straight up the middle because I think it collapses or something. And there's a chest, which for this video, it doesn't actually matter whether we get the chest because the playthrough is done. So this is not going to affect the save file. Basically, this is just a one-off. But we'll get it just to see what it is. And let's see who's in our party, because for me, it's been so long. Cynthia at level 8. God, I forgot how terrible her MP was. It stayed terrible for a long time. Man, 10 MP. God, 2 heal level 2s. Or 3 heal level 1. That's what our main healer can do. Here's Knuckles, our secondary healer, with 3 more MP than the main healer. Amazing. Kiddo the Birdman. Our little flying buddy, Sonette the Archer, Ruberon the Thief, Paige the Warrior is here, we have Howl the Magician. It's interesting that in this translation they changed the mage from the other Shining Forces to Magician. I guess it's cool, it sounds kind of cool, you know. It does take up most of the text box. And me the Knight. And he has Blaze 2 and Freeze 1 at this point. And of course we have main character Ben at level 7. I guess let's just have him charge in and fight this ooze. Why the heck not, right? If you were wondering how on earth did I end up with audio issues that didn't get re-recorded until the very end of the Let's Play, I recorded a whole bunch of episodes at once at that point. So, you know, I had got quite a long ways. And I kept archival saves for this whole playthrough. I made a save state at the end of every battle so that... I guess I never made a save state from the very start of the game, but if I needed to go back and re-record that, I guess I could restart. But I kept a save state after every battle so that I could always go back and re-record if needed, which comes in handy now, obviously. But I just didn't get around to checking all the videos because I was kind of just plowing through a huge amount of the game in a row. And then I was like, oh, I should go back and re-record those. But I just didn't... I wasn't planning to post them until I had all of them anyway, so I just didn't get around to it, basically. So that's why this is being re-recorded so late in time. If you're... and I kind of went back and forth about whether to do it. I was like, no one's ever going to watch this, why bother? But my pride in my work has made me want to do it. And if you're wondering what was the nature of the audio issue, like... how could that possibly have happened? You know, since I'm using OBS, you can literally see on the interface whether the mic is picking up sound. That wasn't the problem. The actual problem was that the headset I'm wearing is one of those ones that has like a the mic is on a little arm that you can flip up or down. So when you're using it just as headphones, you can flip it up to get it out of the way, and you flip it down when you want to use the mic. I flipped it up because it was allergy season, and either it was allergy season or I was just sick. I don't know, but I was coughing and sneezing a whole lot. And I needed to blow my nose, so I flipped it up because it was kind of in the way. And then, you know, I paused the audio, flipped it up, and then I turned the audio back on, and I completely forgot to flip it back down. So the mic was flipped up. It was not off, but it just, obviously, it's a mic that's designed to be part of a headset. So it's designed to pick up sound that's pretty close by it. So it's only picking up your voice and not random other things around you. And so when it's up, like, you know, instead of being in front of your mouth, it's like up on the side, like near your temple. It just doesn't pick up sound very well. So ultimately, it's so funny that she does no damage at this point in the game, because by the end of the game, she got so over level compared to everyone else. She did so much damage. This is like a weird, for anyone who actually watches these in order, this will be like a weird, like, looking ahead to the future episode. But yeah, so it just, basically there was nothing but game audio and occasional muffled, vague talking, which was not very good. And then halfway through the battle after this, I realized that and put the mic back down, but if it had only been for a few minutes, I would have been like, whatever, this is not a professional operation, there's all sorts of things wrong with these, and no one's ever going to watch them. But given the sheer amount of time where there was no audio, I was like, okay, this is really a problem. Not that anything I said was all that interesting, but still, the concept of an LP is that there's gameplay and then you're talking, not that it's just like, we're just watching this in peaceful silence. Who knows, maybe there's an audience out there somewhere for gameplay with no talking, where it's just like, it's like a movie of a video game or something. But that is not the concept of these videos, and this channel that no one will ever watch. Except for bots. Occasionally I get user comments, like a very small number, and they've never been like the first and second episode or anything like that. It's just like a random episode in the middle of a list of them. So I feel pretty convinced that they have got to be bots, because what human being is going to watch like 2 minutes of like the 16th video of an LP and leave a comment? Like, why would someone do that? So I'm sort of assuming it's all robots. But yeah, the amount of lost audio was, it was just so much. It was like half of this episode and then half of the next one originally, because I had done each battle as one episode. Now I will probably try to just have this be one big episode. I guess we'll see how long it goes. But if this battle takes excessively long, then I won't. It could be like a giant, massive bonus episode. Oh, now this is the part with the cave collapse, I think. They're still coming? Then I'll try again! Oh yeah, because the cave collapsed a little at the start. I guess the thing here is that you have to approach them through a narrow space, so you could get like really overwhelmed by attacks. We'll see how it goes. I'm playing it by ear. Excellent. These level ups also, like, if any hypothetical viewers ever watch this, any level ups here will not matter. That will not correspond to what will be in the next video, because this is re-recorded from the future. And so, I'm not replaying the entire game. I'm just replaying this one battle and not affecting the overall save. But I guess it's kind of good that I waited this, in a way, it's kind of nice that I waited this long to do it, because everything is surprising to me again, so it's like I'm doing it spoiler-free somehow, because I don't remember it. I remember it vaguely. But yeah, there's actually, we'll see whether I actually get it this time or not, because it was a pain in the ass, and that's why we didn't get it the first time. In the battle after this, there was a chest that we never got. Because it was, well, I guess I'll go into it when we get to the battle, but maybe we'll get it this time, who knows. Yeah, we did eventually acquire the contents of the chest, because what I discovered down the road is that the deals page of the shop contains things in chests from chests that you didn't open, which is super nice. It's like the game, if you just manage to miss one, the game does not punish you for that. I'm not going to move Ben up to attack the second one, because I don't want him to be too close to all those wizards. If he dies, we lose, so let's not expose him to too much danger. And we're going to have Sinette start softening up the second one. Wow, critical hit, very nice. So not softening up so much as almost killing. Ruberon can finish off this one. Yeah, we're making some progress here. Oh man, all of the commentary I want to make is like just spoilers for what we'll do later. I can't even. Well, fighting these. It's been a long time for me since I fought oozes because obviously the enemies keep changing as you go through the game, and you know it was many chapters since we fought these. Well, level ups are always fun, even if they will not stick long term. You know, the guide that I was using, and it's amazing that I've retained this because, like, obviously I actually didn't go back to review these chapters in the guide or anything, because it doesn't matter. There's no secret stuff in them, so it doesn't matter that much. The guide I was using was very adamant, like, go around to the left, don't go up the middle because you'll get trapped and overwhelmed. But because the enemies start approaching you, we're not kind of in that bad of a situation. Like, obviously we're taking some attacks and stuff, but we're not getting hit by every single enemy at once because they walk towards you. So, I don't know if it really matters that much what you do. Maybe I'll have Kiddo come up here because he's the only one. He might get killed doing this, but since he can get into this position, it's nice we can get some extra attacks. Knuckles bringing up the rear. Man, I'm reminded again of how this genre of games is not necessarily great for like a live commentary LP because, you know, you don't necessarily have a ton to say about each thing that you do. It's like, well, now I'm attacking this guy, now I'm attacking this guy. You know, what I was really there to say, but maybe if I was like an expert on this game, although even then, would you have enough stuff to say for every single battle? I guess if you're really good, you could think of something. if you're someone who's very competent at this sort of thing. But you know, at least with RPGs, maybe there's plot to talk about or something, which this does not have. See, this game, it has it in the cutscenes, but not mid-battle. Maybe the problem is I'm just not very funny, so like I don't have a ton of comical things to say. Because I've watched LPs which were of gameplay that there wasn't necessarily a ton to say about the gameplay, and they were still funny because the people doing them were just really funny. I'm gonna send him to... let's see what he's in inventory, actually. Let's see what his in his... Yeah, he has space. Oh, man. Interacting with old games really makes you appreciate modern games with, like, you know, inventory that automatically goes to, like, the, you know, the equivalent of the caravan or whatever, like storage, or just let you have larger inventories. Let's never heal up Mead. Yeah, it's also been a long time since, because at the end of the game, obviously I had everyone promoted. It's been a long time since I've seen these sprites with the little, like, Egyptian Ankh staff. Man, I forgot about that. What an interesting choice for, like, the visual design. The characters don't appear to have any other connection to ancient Egypt, so I'm like, I wonder how they came up with that. Is it just random? Good old Mead. Yeah, like, let's actually page go over here so we're like a little more spread out, so we're not forming the perfect shape for the magic users to attack all of us at once. Let's make a little effort to not be terrible at this battle. It may not matter long term, but for the sake of any hypothetical viewers who may want to watch some sort of vaguely competent performance. I'm putting some net in a little danger, but, you know, gotta move forward at some point. Should do good damage to the brass loader. I'm gonna have Howl hang out over here for a little just so he doesn't immediately get in danger range. Yeah, well, we managed to lure the Dark Mage forward at least and not get literally everyone hit by his attack, so not bad. I probably should have picked someone less useful. Rubron is really strong, so I should have picked someone else to go, but he was in a convenient spot. He could be helped. I feel like I said this either in the original recording of this video or other ones that use the same background music, but man, this song that is the cave background, it's like the background music for the cave. It's like so kind of chill and relaxing that it makes it hard to get like hyped up for the battle because I'm like, I feel like I'm just kind of grooving to this song and just chilling out. It doesn't feel like It's like has a little bit of like a spooky vibe, but it doesn't feel like intense or like, oh, we're in danger. It's more like, yeah, we're just chilling. You know, it doesn't. I like it. I don't dislike it at all, but it's just funny as kind of the mood setter. Man, man, you forget how much everyone sucks at this early stage of the game. Like, we just can't defeat these really not particularly powerful enemies. And Ben hang back so he does not die. This leaves us in a vulnerable position for the other mage, but it's important to defeat the first mage so he doesn't just kill us. At least Sinette is useful. It's also funny now, looking back from the future, which characters were not very useful now and became useful later, vice versa, which were useful again, you know, yeah, it's an extra protect milk, cool. I forgot that I had two originally because I must have used one. I don't remember when I used each of them. I used one of them later on, but did I use the other one at some point? Cynthia isn't a strong attacker at this point, so I guess I'll have her just chill. Eventually she'll pack a punch, but not now. My like habits are all weird because I'm like, oh, this character's really good, and it's like, oh wait, that's like 10 chapters from now they're really good. That's all I remember. Man, I hope we don't losing this battle. I'll just re-record it if we lose because like, how interesting could it be? It's not that interesting to watch this just happen over and over. We're actually closer to killing the dark smoke, and it still has magic, so it's useful to kill. God, Knuckles, you're fucking terrible. Ugh. Why must I suffer through these early levels where everyone was bad? This really is bringing, like, flashbacks of how shitty some of these characters were at the beginning of the game, where they just, like, could not hit things, they couldn't deal much damage. But many of them eventually became very strong. With sufficient level grinding. Okay, let's get rid of this Dark Mage. Oh wait, no, he's at full HP. I thought we had already damaged him a little. Well, that won't get rid of him then. Sinette will certainly help, though. Just get rid of the mage. Oh, if Cynthia... Yeah, she has Blast, so let's... I think it'll do enough to... Yeah, I don't think they resist Blast or anything. Excellent. Excellent. Man, training her... As any hypothetical viewers will see, you know, as they watch future videos, training her was hard. This is gonna be such a weird one, because it's like, oh, I remember this, and it's like, but the videos on either side of it will be not retroactive. Ruberan finally joined the party again. I guess we'll murder this worm first, and then go kill the boss. Yeah, I have to say, the guy I was using was like, don't go up the middle, but going up the middle actually... feels like it was the most natural and obvious thing to do, because going around the side, A, I'm very impatient, and it would have taken longer, right? Because it's like, oh, we gotta walk all the way around, jeez. But also, you still would have ended up clustered in a narrow space to be attacked by stuff. It'd be sort of the same. And well, as you go up the center, the enemies start to one by one come towards you, so you pick off some of them first, and then, yeah, we kind of end up facing the two mages close together, but not so close together that it was impossibly overwhelming. I actually don't think you need to go up the side. And also the cave collapsing and stuff didn't matter all that much. Like, it barely affected anything in the fight. Okay, we'll finish off this worm, and then, so if we do 2 in a row, this will be like a super long episode, but, I'm still thinking about it. Because on the one hand, I'm like, oh, I could do this as one big chunk, and it'll be the one retroactive episode, you know, flashback. But, would that be excessively long? But on the other hand, no one's ever gonna watch it, so it's fine. Oh, very nice, a counterattack. Very fun. But we are already at, like, 20 minutes, and I did try to keep all of these like around half an hour. Decisionless decisions. Well, I guess since it is arguably a special episode, since it's the one recorded down the road after the whole thing is finished, so maybe we'll just make it a big long, like, super bonus episode or whatever. Yeah, and do this one chunk. Okay. Just planning, you know, it's not, I don't plan these things ahead of time, you know, I'm just rolling with it. Master Magus, that was his name, Magus, the weird little goblin wizard dude. Master Magus, we've been discovered. They're here. Yeah, you not only been discovered, I killed your entire army. I think you should have sent someone to warn him earlier. It's just a matter of time until the enemy finds us. Then we must make haste. I have to say, I feel like my robot voice, that's the only robot voice I have. I feel like it's not that strong. It doesn't sound robot-y enough. We do need to raise the one guy who died. And then get rid of that poison on Kiddo, because it's annoying. Oh, Ben was poisoned too. Jeez, I didn't even notice. Shows how much I was paying attention. It's funny how it says the poison was completely vanished from the person's body, but like, you'd think they would have gone with like the more simplistic and kind of straightforward, like the poison was cured. It's like, wow, they went into such detail. I'm actually going to use all of our special items because since this is not part of the official save, it's like, well, might as well do it now. Because it's, you know, it'll make the next battle easier. And then in the video after that, protect Magus, I don't know, throw it on Sinette. She had low defense in the past. Cheerful Bread is HP. Let's hop on Benza just so he survives better. And, oops. You can't use the throwing knife for that. Ben attempted to use the throwing knife. He's getting sick of these party members. Let's hop this on Ben also so he doesn't die, because the next battle is really annoying. And that is all the special items. And, as I recall, the next battle was really hard and took me several tries to beat in the original. If it's the one I'm thinking of, I think it is. Well, let's go find out. I'll make a save state, like a bonus save state, just in case. I think I remember the voice I did for this guy. It was like, like very breathy. Fight! If we defeat them in this battle, we can take over the city of Pacalon. Pacalon was a state from Shining Force 2 with all the centaurs. It was in a drought when we met them in Shining Force 2 because Matula was sealed away. There he is, the little, like, evil Yoda dude. You're too slow. Why do some of the Pacalon troops still remain undefeated? He's also a terrible boss. He's not contributing anything, and he's just like, yells at them like, oh, you should do it faster. It's like, why don't you cast some of your magic spells and actually contribute? Well, Master Magus, the Pacalon forces have grouped together in resistance. We can't defeat them. God, these people are incompetent. As villains go, they're just not the most intimidating set we've faced in Shining Force. Then they leave me no other choice. We'll make the river overflow. Pacalon soldiers will have a drink of water like they've never had before. That's also the weirdest villain threat. You'll have a drink of water like you've never had before. It's one of those things you sit there being like, what? Like, it is kind of interesting that the first game where we met them, Shining Force 2, the Pacalon people are dying of drought, but in this game they die in a flood. Water remains their nemesis, whether too little or too much. And apparently the Pacalon troops, when they're not all dying of thirst, are actually pretty tough since they repelled Magus's forces. So I guess the river is flowing from, like, the left of the screen to the right? Or... oh no, the water came from the right, because I was going to say, that seems like the flow of the river did not match. But yeah, it came from the right, so it flooded. And now there's water everywhere. Good, it worked. Also, only one little boulder was required to cause this massive flood. It seems like that would have been a danger, like in a storm, trees will block it or something. It could have happened at any time. They soon lost their fighting spirit, by which I think you mean they died. Now everybody, let's march into Pacalon. I think that's the voice I did. Whoa! Either that or they're like, ooh, they're very hyped. I'm gonna break down the gate. Then, we'll soon be reaching Pacalon, the country of centaurs. Over there, you'll see a crowd of their splendid knights. Will I? You'll see a crowd of corpses. Oh no, Pacalon is under attack. If I'm not mistaken, that's the Devil Army. Then we must assist our allies. Who the hell else would it be, really? Like, how many armies of random monsters can there be wandering the countryside? You'd hope very few. Master Magus, look over there! Ben and his force have arrived! Well, if we take the castle first, we can use it against Ben and his soldiers. Siege warfare. In cutscenes, Ben can defeat these guys in one hit, not in gameplay. It looks like our soldiers are defeated by Ben yet again! We've got no choice. Withdraw our troops and defeat Ben first. The voice got a little weird at the end there. Okay, I have to say, I feel like this chapter in particular, this cutscene really exemplifies something about this game, which is that, like, it feels like it has more writing, if that's the way to put it, than most of the other Shining Force games, where, like, there's a lot more back and forth dialogue, there's a lot more kind of action scenes before each battle. It's not just, like, brief little, you know, kind of text boxes and then we fight. Particularly compared to the other two Gaiden games. It's, like, surprisingly elaborate, even though the plot is pretty simple and straightforward. It's like they put a lot of effort into these little character interactions and moments. Like, that was a pretty, like, fun little action scene of, like, you know, kind of very classic, like, the hero defeats them and they're like, oh no, we've lost it again. It was, like, very, like, entertaining. I appreciate that about this game. This is the chest that we never got. You might think, how the hell did you not get a chest that's so close to the start? Because in the original recording of this battle, and possibly again in this recording, the problem I ran into is that every enemy walks towards you. They don't stay in place, unlike some maps where, like, we'd fight these guys later. And so we really never left this bridge because it was impossible. That's also why I died so many times. We got overwhelmed really quickly. That's also why I am actually going to make a save state right here. That's what I'm doing right now. You can't see the menu, but you can see my mouse cursor. Post-game. I'll just call it post-game. Because I'm recording this post the end of the game. Because there is a chance that I'll die, and I don't want to have to re-record. Well, not re-record, but replay the entire first battle. That would be a waste of time. It wasn't that hard, but it still took like 20 minutes. Because there's a very good chance that we'll die again. The strategy I eventually had work. I also used this map to level grind the first time around, if I remember correctly. Maybe that was part, like, I'm trying to remember back why I had the problem with the mic being flipped up. Maybe it was because I was recording it after doing some grinding, and so I just forgot to put my headphones back into, like, record position. But yeah, the problem I ran into the first time was that I rushed too far ahead trying to move out away from the bridge and got completely overwhelmed. Especially since this bridge is, like, just 2 tiles wide, right? So as the mage approaches, your forces are clumped up and can easily get hit with a bunch of spells and then hit with a bunch of ranged attacks, hit by the worms. Just, there's so many, and there's another mage over here. And so I never managed to get the chest, which has the Brave Apple, an item which increases level by 1. So it's not very important as items go. The stat boost items, like, materially increase your stats, whereas the level, you could just grind as much as you want to boost your level. It's not as key. And as I discovered later, you can buy it in the deals menu. But we are going to give this a try. And what I eventually managed to do, we still lost a lot of people, but it was a tough fight. I believe this is one of those fights where you just have to defeat every enemy, and every enemy walks towards you. If I remember right, I think I had at least one version of it where I had to go back and redo a bunch of level grinding because I defeated all of the enemies by accident, because I did not realize when I first did it that none of the enemies stays in position. Usually in the Shining Force maps, there's at least some enemies that don't just, like, the ones towards the end of the map, like these, usually they wouldn't start moving until you reach a certain point. They don't just, like, all head towards the start. So this is a little unusual. But the strategy that eventually worked for me was to just hang back, not push everyone out onto the bridge, not try to, like, get out in front of it, because the number of enemies was just, like, we couldn't keep up. Our healing, certainly not. We sort of are short on healing right now, too, right? Because our, in theory, main healer, the character whose primary purpose is to heal and doesn't really do a lot else, can only use heal 1 3 times total in the whole battle. Our secondary healer, ironically, actually has better MP than the main healer, but can still only use heal 1 4 times, which the sheer amount of damage the enemies could pour out in that, like, clustered up setting just was totally overpowering to our level of healing. And then our ability to defeat the enemies in Shining Force in general, I think I've talked about this in previous LPs. Unlike, for example, in Fire Emblem, usually you have a very large amount of enemies and a small amount of player characters, right? So you could have, like, you know, 40 enemies and you've got, like, 12 characters. And that's because each enemy is comparatively weak compared to your characters. So it's sort of like a small force of powerful soldiers versus a very large army of less powerful soldiers. But in Shining Force, that's not as true. If you level grind a bunch, it could become true, right? You could boost your characters up kind of absurdly, if you take the time. But each enemy is pretty strong. Like, you cannot one-shot these enemies, you know? Whereas in Fire Emblem, sometimes, you know, especially if you're fighting like a random, like a bandit or like a soldier, a weaker enemy, your characters could like double attack them and kill them in one turn. That is not generally true in Shining Force. These enemies have attack. Our characters are like, our attack is generally a bit stronger, but they have defense that's pretty comparable to our defense, sometimes better than our defense. And so we can't kill them in a single round. We sometimes need 2 or 3 attacks, and since there aren't double attacks in this game are pretty rare, so that means we need 2 or 3 characters to use their entire turn. And on top of that, unlike in Shining Force where our whole army moves and then the whole enemy army moves, the turn order is not fixed here. And so sometimes, you know, we might have 2 characters get their turn, and then we don't get a 3rd member of our army to have a turn until after the enemies move. So winnowing down the forces is harder. And also dodging is quite rare in this game, so we can't even have our forces dodge a bunch of attacks. They have to be able to tank those attacks, which is very hard. So getting swarmed by enemies is a much more difficult situation in Shining Force compared to Fire Emblem. If you're wondering why I compare the 2 games, it's because those are the main tactics. I don't really play other tactics RPGs. She ever use? No, she doesn't have the higher level blast yet. Yeah, so it's not a multi-attack target spell. I played Pokemon Conquest, I guess. That's the other one I played. But I actually play more turn-based RPGs than I do tactics RPGs. You know, like Final Fantasy style, like you have a party of characters and you battle in a separate screen from the main thing. I'm gonna have Howl. I'm gonna have him hang back a little because I think he'll get killed easily. I'm gonna try and be real cautious here. Make use of our ranged characters. Not extend so far that we get attacked by both mages at once. But yeah, so in Shining Force, it's because it takes like multiple characters to kill each enemy, generally, and because we can't guarantee that we'll get multiple characters' turns in a row, having a big pile of enemies attack us is a pretty dangerous scenario. Oh, I'm already worried about how far Kiddo went hard. I feel like enemies also dodge a lot more often than we do, which is so frustrating. It's like, because like you don't get, we only have so many characters, we never get a party bigger than 12. That's our hard limit. And then the characters don't all get their turn at once, so like you're waiting to get a character's turn, you only have so many characters, and then the enemy dodges, so the character's entire turn is wasted. And since counterattacks are so rare, and less powerful than normal attacks also, they're not just a standard attack, it's like way more of a waste, because it's like, oh, now they can't do anything until their next turn. Sucks. I guess I'll have him move over here just to kind of not have everyone stuck in the same little spot. The spear isn't very powerful, but, you know, little by little. Dark Smoke is also a flying enemy, so we can't block it with the river. I guess we should kill the worm first. We're already in a tough position. I kind of want to pull back a little. On the bridge also, the other thing is because it's 2 tiles wide and 2 enemies might approach us at the same time, that means we could only have 2 characters on the bridge. So we actually can't attack the enemy with very many of our characters at once. And this battle includes ranged units for the enemies, so, you know, they can attack us with multiple characters a little more easily. We have some ranged characters too, but it's hard to set it up in a way where we're not immediately in danger. I'm gonna save her heal just because she has so few. I think Sinette can attack. Once again, I wish the box that appears in the upper right would not appear so I can see what the hell I'm doing. I'll have to wait for now. this is... Howl would die if I did that anyway. I got him killed in my original recording of the battle as well, because I was like, I can't resist the temptation to have him attack with like 5 targets at once in his spell, and of course he immediately got killed by all of them, but it was kind of worth it. Hate to say it, but yeah, are you kind of seeing the problem here? Where the amount of enemies is building up very quickly, and our ability to kill them is much slower than that. Ooh, that mage is especially scary. Get closer. I'm gonna have Kiddo pull back. I want my units to retreat a little. I don't like us stuck on the bridge because that doesn't let us kind of bring our full strength to bear. It's hard though because like there's just like 6 or 7 enemies all attacking at once, and there's only so much we can do about that. I guess I'll just keep us stuck on the bridge. It's a tricky situation. This could very well be a fight we need to try more than once. At least he got some defense in that level to help him now. These enemies also hit pretty hard. Oh, and the dark smoke is getting closer. Well, we'll be able to defeat the brass loader, and then the mage is gonna be able to move in. It's a terrible situation. Ben also needs to not just get in there too much, because if he dies, then we lose completely. Okay, at least Annette can hit hard. Howl will die if I do this. I'm still gonna do it. I did this the first time too. I'm like, my desire to hit all these enemies at once is much higher than my desire to protect Howl right now. I wish that Sonette already had the 3-range weapon, because archers in Shining Force, once you promote them, they can get weapons that can hit up to 3 spaces away, but we don't have that yet. Priest decided to just wade in here and attack, and he can actually do a fuck ton of damage, damn. Yeah, see, now we're running into this problem where we can't bring our full force to bear. Very difficult situation. And... huh. Mage should not attack yet. I'm gonna pull Mead back. If we have both of... if the enemies occupy kind of just the bridge space and we're on the grass space, we'll actually be in a bit of a better position because our ranged characters can hit them more easily. Like Kiddo can get in right here without exposing himself to too many attacks. That's not bad. I'm still worried about the mages. Like, we will have to contend with them, and this battle is one where it's very difficult not to be very clustered up. You know, it's because the enemies are coming at us in a big cluster, and so to fight them, we all need to stand together fighting them. Our characters mostly attack adjacent, and we don't necessarily want them to flood past us and be able to hit every single one of our foes. Yeah, if Howl can get a turn before the enemies all attack him, then we can save him. But we don't know if that will happen. Ooh, Paige doesn't have a lot of HP. Damn it. Well, Howl's gotta endure a lot. See, this is... but I'm gonna take the risk. We might be able to heal him, but he can defeat the brass loader, and we have to reduce the number of enemies. Like, we have to thin the crowd. I'm still having Ben hang back. He's one of our stronger attackers, but he's also the character we really cannot risk. And enemies will preferentially attack him if he's available. Because, you know, the AI is designed to attack the character that you lose if they die. Cynthia is going to come in and heal Paige. This is... I feel like this level... I'll talk about the design a little. I don't like the design that much because I always think it's disappointing when you end up not really using most of the map. Oh good, Howl's going to pull back. I just want to point out here how difficult it would actually be to do that because we have not at any point really managed to clear a space where we even could get to the rest of the map, and if we had somebody walk out here, they're going to get murdered really fast. How are we ever going to get up to the rest of it? So it's a level where you kind of just stand here at the start, which just feels like a disappointing. It's like disappointing to design this huge entire map and then you don't use a lot of it. I can occasionally be okay with this for maps where it's like the goal is like Fire Emblem defend missions where it's like don't let enemies into the fort or defend the gate. I think that can be interesting when it's designed deliberately for that mechanic, but this isn't like that. So it's sort of like, it feels so strange that they program the AI this way because it sort of makes the rest of the map a little pointless. It is really, really difficult, and I think it actually is pretty strategic, ironically, because you have to like really think about how far to extend your forces, how to position them, you know, like when to heal and when not to. So it's playing, the gameplay is interesting. I wouldn't say it's like bullshit. Like it's not bullshit difficulty where you're like, well, there's just luck involved and it's hard for the wrong reasons. I'm like, it's hard in a way that is relevant to the gameplay of a tactics game. It just feels like kind of a design that, I don't know, when there's a whole huge map and I'm like, well, I'm never gonna walk over all these parts, it's like, huh, well then why are they there? I'm gonna pull Howl back. Yeah, the risk is high. And, he only has so many spells left total, but it's nice to do some damage to Dark Smoke. But yeah, it's a weird map design, and it feels weirdly hard for this part of the game too. Like it feels much harder than the levels before and after it, to the point that I wonder if they sort of didn't realize how difficult it was going to be. This wasn't like an intentional decision. I'm pulling her back because she's not in a good spot to actually attack in melee. But of course this guy, we don't get a turn after that, and then this guy instantly gets to move in. We also can't always predict, the turn order is not identical. Like it's not like a consistent order that happens over and over again. It seems to have a little variation. Oh, every step that wizard takes is like terrifying to me. Now both of them are here. Is anyone real badly hurt? Mead's not in great shape. I'm actually gonna have him detox Ben because the amount of damage Ben is taking is really adding up. Like, I don't think you can die of poison. I think when you get down to 1, it doesn't damage you anymore, but we don't want Ben to get to that level where a single attack will kill him. That would be really, really bad. I'm really hoping one of our characters who can attack the priest can get a turn so that he doesn't just heal us. See, this is why we never want to have Ben too far in the danger zone. There are flying enemies here. That worm moving into the spot was actually really good because it helped protect us a little from the mage. Okay, this should kill the priest. Good. Now he won't be able to heal the others. But yeah, this is genuinely strategic, and I'm having to like think carefully about the position of my units, the order attack stuff in. So it's not like, oh, the design is boring. It's just odd. I think if it had been a map that was like small, or like it was clearly not intended for you to leave the starting area, and maybe, who knows, maybe that was the design, maybe that was the concept, I have no idea. It just feels strange to have this fairly large map where you can't really make much use of most of it. But it is actually an interesting battle. Even if it's weirdly positioned in the game where like it doesn't feel like it was intended to be as hard as it is, based on the difficulty of the maps around it. We'll have him move back a tad just so someone else, we can kill the knight and someone else can get in that spot. Dang, that knight has good defense. On the one hand, I hate to waste her MP, but she can actually kill this Dark Knight. Yeah. The magic does fixed damage. I think some of the mages and magic enemies do resist magic, though. Yeah, I wonder if, like, maybe the AI, there was something went wrong with the programming, because it's very, now the hurting will happen. That's what I feared the whole time. I think we'll live it, though. Fairly. It's okay if we lose characters once we get to a point in the map where we are capable of defeating the rest of the enemies without having every single character present. This actually, you can tell like how difficult this map was because based on the fact that I remember it in so much detail after playing through the entire game. I'm not pulling Mead back. There's nowhere to pull back to at this point, and we need a nice strong attack to kill this mage before he kills us. We've still got a lot of tough enemies ahead, too. Oh. See, this is exactly needs that, but this is exactly the danger of this map. This is what I kept running into, where it is very hard. Damn it, we lost Rugran. He's really strong. To defeat the mages fast enough that you're not faced with two of them at once. Because they're very near each other, and it's hard to progress in the map fast enough. And two mages casting that spell at the same time, our characters just do not have enough HP to survive that, particularly if they've already taken chip damage from fighting this massive pile of other enemies. Very, very hard. And this is why I've been holding Ben back the whole game, the whole level, because if he gets caught in that, we're in real trouble. He doesn't have bolt yet. He actually can't attack right now. Ugh. Howl doesn't have enough left for the ranged spell. Well, it can't be helped. I needed to deal damage to other enemies too. At least he can kill one of them. And hopefully someone can kill the other. Hopefully we'll get a turn. That's the thing, we can't guarantee we'll get our turn first. She can't kill either of the enemies. Who needs to be healed? It's more valuable to have her keep someone else alive. Howl actually doesn't really need to be healed at this point, frankly, because he can't cast any more spells. So at this point, he can't really do any more damage. I'm actually going to heal Ben on the logic that he's the one who needs to stay alive, and we still need to do the rest of the map. Sorry, that was loud. We can't let him die at this point. But yeah, this took me multiple tries. Because I tend to be too aggressive in maps. That's always the thing that gets me killed. I push forward too fast because I'm impatient. And this is a map where, like you've already seen, hypothetical viewers, as cautious as we were, as careful as we were, we still lost characters. It is hard. So this is a map where getting too impatient and trying to go too fast will make you lose over and over. Your characters will get swarmed, you all get stuck on the bridge or just in front of it, because you get blocked by the enemies moving in, and then you get attacked by both mages at once, you take a tremendous amount of damage, and you die. So this is a map where caution is the keyword. I would say, this is my best playthrough of it. I've retained the memories of the first two, which were so painful. You can also see how tough the dark smoke is, because it can get into positions where we can't actually get adjacent to it. Now we can have Ben, now that the two mages are gone, we can have Ben actually get in there. Yeah, and see, this is the problem I ran into, where the priest starts moving too, at which point it was like, well, it was really hard to make time for the chest when we're doing all these other things. We might actually get it in this playthrough though. This is a super long episode. This is gonna go to like an hour. This is longer. I'm pretty sure this is longer than the final battle episode. Can she actually reach the dark smoke from the other side of the bridge? No. I was just thinking it would be annoying to have her left behind, but there'll be like one enemy after this, so I guess it doesn't matter. Oh, excellence in that. So excellent. Thank you for being great. Yeah, we'll actually get the chest this time, which we didn't. Let me make sure his inventory has space. Yes. We didn't the first playthrough, so this is nice. Yeah, it's the Brave Apple. It's nice that the audience can actually see us get it. And you will eventually see us use it, because much later, I eventually bought it from deals, because we didn't get it the first time. It's not a very exciting item, but I'm glad that we actually got to show it off here. Oh, we lost a lot of characters. But I think I lost even more in my original run. Or it was either more or similar to this. Because damn, this map is hard. But I did the best this time because I learned the lessons. Maybe all the time playing like the whole rest of the game made me better at Shining Force games. But I just also remember doing it, and I feel like I learned the lesson of the multiple losses I suffered, which was that this map is really hard and you have to think really like you can't be careless or just kind of throw your characters in and be like, oh, it'll close enough. You have to actually think through each turn, which enemies you're targeting first, how far you're advancing, you know, how close the other enemies are. I'm sure there are strategies that could do even better. Obviously luck is a factor too, because now we can't get, Ben did so little but in this mission, but it was tough to get him in without putting him at risk. I also learned that from the first playthrough where we lost, like outright lost, not just I retreated because it was hopeless, but straight up lost because Ben, I was like, oh, he's one of my stronger attackers, so I'll move him in. Then he would get swarmed by enemies, both of the mages would be there, he wouldn't get a turn again. Because you can't always predict when your character's going to get turns. It doesn't always happen the same way every rotation of every... It's not like there's just an order that you're rotating through. So sometimes he unexpectedly would not get his turn until like 5 enemies moved and there would be no way to rescue him. And he would die, and we would lose. Which sucked. But yeah, I'm sure that there are strategies that could do this more easily. I wouldn't say that I'm actually particularly great at strategy RPGs, even though I love... he can't do anything right now, let's move him. Even though I love Fire Emblem and Shining Force, I wouldn't say that I'm especially great at them or anything like that. Probably I'm average, so I'm sure there are people who could come up with a way better strategy, but in general, you need to have a strategy. You can't just kind of throw your units out there for this map. Some of the maps you can just kind of go with the flow. Here, you have to actually think it through, every turn. Which is cool. It just feels weird, because it doesn't feel like that was necessarily the intention of the map, it just sort of happened. But anyway, we managed to do it in one try, which I'm very pleased with, and now we have a cutscene. Grunt. How could this happen? It happened because I practiced a lot, basically. It happened because I tried many times and finally acknowledged that I need to actually be careful in that map. What's wrong, Magus? Did things not go according to plan? Lynx? Easy for you to say. I'm only a step away from finishing them off. Yeah. We just defeated your whole force. You're only a step from winning. That's confidence. I find that most dubious, judging by the current situation. That's not fair. If they hadn't arrived so soon, I could have taken them as planned. Which is also kind of pathetic. It's like, I would totally have done a better job if my enemies had been less competent. It's like, yeah, sure, buddy. It's interesting, his portrait has like one eye is like pure white. Is it like a magical eye, or is it just a cataract? It seems that they came here because they found you. Lynx is very sassy. He's not taking any of this shit. Please, Lynx, I beg you to take me with you. Well, alright, I'll help you this once. Let's teleport now. Also, take him with him. Lynx, we'll fight Lynx later, and he's one of the only bosses that doesn't cast spells. So I don't know how he teleported them anyway. Magus is the wizard. Man, the enemy has retreated. The enemy, meaning those two guys. To be fair, at this point in the game, we wouldn't be able to kill Lynx, because he's like an enemy we'll fight later, obviously, so his stats are high. Now, and here's 2 party members who are going to join us. I'm Sylvia, knight from Pacalon. Thanks to you, our country is safe and the devil army has departed. You must be Ben, right? I know that because we received a report from Vulcanon's country, Bedo. That's the bird people country we were before. I flew from to Pacalon from Bedo when I heard about the devil army. These 2 characters don't have a lot of cutscenes, so I didn't have a voice for them, so sorry if they appear later and their voice is different. I don't remember what, if anything, I used. Not everyone can fly so far without a rest, wouldn't you agree? Ha ha ha! Julia's also very confident. I gotta say, her stats do not reflect that confidence. It'll take a long time for her to not suck. So, you were the one at Bedo with Kiddo fighting the devil army. Ah, yes, I remember that. I also entered the cave and just missed the cave-in. So I quickly made it through one step ahead of you to Pacalon. So they heard of us like 10 minutes ago. It wasn't that long. Your actions have made me think I'd like to come with you all and fight to protect our world. I hope I'm not too late, but I also wish to join you. Sylvia the Knight and Julia the Bird Woman join the force. It's kind of neat that they actually listed her class as Bird Woman instead of just Bird Man, because the name of the class I think is just Bird Man, which is always kind of funny because it's like also some of them are not, they're Bird Women, so they actually listed her as the Bird Woman. The acronym, the BDMN, could be the same because it's like, it's a shortening, so it's like we just don't have the W. But that's a nice little detail where it's like, oh, they're making every little thing very accurate. Before we go to fight, we should all take a rest in Pacalon. So we're gonna go hang out with the Centaur people. And we got some party members, so yeah, we don't really have to do anything here because obviously the whole rest of the game has already been recorded. The next battle is not a playthrough that's after these events. It's you know, it's instead post a gameplay that footage that is not retained. So, oh, but I should watch the opening cutscene. That's right, because I always do the opening cutscene in that same battle. So otherwise it would be missing. But I'm glad I remembered that. Okay, so here's the opening cutscene. This is the dragon dude. I think his name's Eric. Magus, we must report to you that this man has broken army regulations. He was part of the Devil Army. He's like a double agent, I guess. Now, if I remember correctly, you're Eric. That is your name, isn't it? I understand you used to be a spy. And apparently he is still a spy. He's just like a double spy. I don't remember the voice I used for him. Apologies. I guess I'll just give him like a gruff voice. I didn't do anything of the sort. Magus, you always did enjoy blaming the innocent. He's actually not innocent, though. He is... I mean, I don't know if he's a spy, but he's a traitor anyway. He's not friends with them. Oh, it's you again. You do me an injustice, Lynx. This time I have proof. Has he done this before? Is this a pattern? No wonder nobody competent works for Magus. They don't like him. Really? Then why don't you show me this proof? What has Eric done, and what could Eric hope to achieve? Wow, that's... sassy Lynx here. What could you possibly hope to achieve? You're totally pathetic. Although I have to say, his assessment is not wrong. Eric's stats are not very good. He's gonna be a party member. We won't really use him. Because, it's possible if you train him a bunch he gets good, but at the time that we get him, he's not... our other characters are better, so I'm probably not really gonna use him. All I want is to see Michaela. If I enter the Devil Army, one of these days I'll meet up with her. So that's the reason for my actions. I said this the first time I recorded this, so I'll say it again now. That sentence, like, I just want to meet up with Michaela, that's my whole reason. It kind of sounds like he wants to, like, flirt with her or something. He's like, I'm into her. I really want to meet her. Although, actually, he wants to murder her. But just that alone makes it sound like maybe he's just like, she's my idol. What? Well, well. You two, get him and take him for execution. Which is also amazing, because I'm like, hey, they seem to just be jumping to the conclusion that he wants to meet Michaela in order to harm her, as opposed to, like, he wants to meet her just, like, I don't know, maybe he had something to ask her or, like, something. They're right, but it's like, how did they know? Maybe they just figured nobody wants to meet Michaela for any other purpose than murdering her. She has a lot of enemies. But it's also funny that he told them that. Like, they're like, oh, what's the proof that you're a spy? What did you join the Devil Army for? And he's like, well, I joined it to kill your leader. And it's like, what did you think was going to happen, Eric? They obviously wouldn't react well to that. But anyway, he's going to be executed or whatever. Wait, isn't this interesting? Lynx, what do you plan to do? You caught him by using dirty traps. I cannot accept that. We never find out what the traps were. Also, Lynx's whole shtick appears to be that he's like, I don't know, the honorable one or whatever. But he still murders a bunch of people, and like he's like trying to destroy the world with Michaela, so it's like, get down off your high horse, buddy. Eric is released from his chains. Fight me, Eric. If you cannot defeat me, you do not have a chance against Mistress Michaela. I will also say he would definitely not have a chance against Lynx. Lynx's stats are really high because he's an endgame boss. So none of our characters could defeat him at this point. We wouldn't even be able to damage him. I don't know if you always do at least 1 damage when you attack, or if your attack is too low compared to the defense, you just miss, but we could not kill him. I'm ready anytime. Come on. Everyone else runs away. They're like, oh shit! Everyone else step back and don't interfere. They seem to have worked that out on their own already. Whoa! Eric would be deaded. This whole thing where like they're supposedly fighting is really making it seem like Eric is a lot stronger than he is. Gasp. Gasp. Like, no. Now's our chance. Everyone after Eric. I also gotta say, I'm pretty sure Magus and those 2 soldiers, they'd have a good chance of killing him too, because like I said, Shining Force is a game where it takes multiple attacks to kill each enemy, and he's all alone, so they might very well be able to kill him before he could kill them, especially since Magus has magic, so his defenses wouldn't be useful against that. You can't do that. I'm leaving this place now. Again, if his voice is different in the next chapter, I apologize, because it's been a long time since I recorded it, and I don't remember what voice I gave him. Because these villains got way more cutscenes than, you know, Eric did, so I remember their voices more. After him. It's a shame we have to kill a man like him. I will say, he is really cool. He's our only, like, dragon dude that we recruit. I wish his stats had been a little better so that he's a little more useful. But, and again, it's possible that if you train him up, maybe he gets really good stat growths and, you know, but he's not very good right now. Otherwise, generally I do pick characters based on coolness, so if he was a little less shitty, I'd consider it. I want to defeat that man in a fair battle. My apologies for causing you this trouble, Magus. Also, again, he 100% could have. He's like an endgame boss. He could easily do that. But remember this, you should always fight fair and square. Our villains here coming out strongly in favor of fairness. I feel like when the villains are going, you should always fight fair and square, it makes them seem a lot less intimidating, because it just seems like it's like they're gonna, like, join Captain Planet or something. You know, like, it seems like a very generic, like, children's cartoon, like, what the good guys say. It makes them seem a little not very scary. Should always fight fair and square. Devils trying to destroy the world, strongly in favor of good sportsmanship. Lynx is so selfish. One of these days I'll get even with him. Yeah, that's gonna happen. First, I must find Eric, otherwise I'll be in big trouble. Man, now I remember how much that voice, like, killed my vocal cords. Volcanon said that we should head north. If we can carry on this way and don't go astray, we should reach the town of Mao. You may remember that town from Shining Force 2. We met Vicar Freya there, and it was taken over by devils. But luckily, Zinc the robot was able to save a lot of the townspeople by having them hide down below. And it was like the gate that let us get to yet another part of Parmashia that we wanted to go, where the Nazca ship was. It was a whole big plot point. We'll have to go via Mon to get to the far north, where he said we'll find a real treat at a place called Nazca, which of course, we're going the same way the Shining Force 2 characters went to the Nazca ship. It's about time our scout Julia reported back to us. I don't know why she has to scout ahead when we could see what's happening from here, pretty much. Those guys seem to be wandering about quite strangely, don't they? It seems that Magus is the commanding officer of the Devil Army's force here, and they're quite frantic right now to find a guy called Eric. Eric, interesting. Who is that, I wonder? Any sign of Eric? No, he doesn't seem to be here. Any sign of Eric? Guy who's like 2 yards from me? They're not very far apart. I don't know. He must be further away. We've got to search well. Hey, it's you guys again. Again, this seems weirdly unintimidating. It seems more like they're like kids having a quarrel than like soldiers fighting in a war. Curses! It seems like we'll have to fight them again. Did those guys make it this far to the north? Put off the search for Eric. We must attack Ben and his force. And I don't totally remember. I marked the videos, the battles I need to go back and re-record, but I kind of forget. Hopefully that cutscene is not also at the start of the next video. If it is, I guess you can just enjoy comparing my interpretations of these voices. I guess I'll do my usual pre-battle overview in case that video doesn't have it. Got Orc Lords, the Dark Smoke is still here. We've got these Dark Snipers who... Their sprite was always one of the most interesting to me because I feel like compared to the other sprites, it's sort of hard to figure out what the hell is going on with it. Like, which part is their face? Are they wearing a hat? Is that a mouth or a giant eyeball? It's sort of weird. The Dark Knight's still here. Got our Dark Mages still. This is the new enemy Vampire Bat. I think they can poison us or put us to sleep or something. Got some enemies down here. Priests are still here with their heal 2. And I believe this guy is the boss, the Hobgoblin, a new enemy. This is the town of Maun. And this map also is... Oh, maybe he's not the boss because there's another Hobgoblin here. I don't remember whether this is a map where you have to defeat every enemy or if there's a boss. It is one of Shining Force's classic, like, giant outdoor maps where you're gonna have to walk a lot and it's a lot of difficult terrain. I guess you'll get to see how well we did at that in the next video. Because it already exists. Yeah, and this is another map that if any hypothetical viewers who either watched our Shining Force 2 Let's Play or have played it themselves will recognize this as similar to the outdoor area where you approach Mount in that game. So thank you for watching, hypothetical viewers, and enjoying this weird little blast from the past. Or I guess from the perspective of the people viewing the LP in order, blast from the future. in which we went back and re-recorded um, after a long sojourn. And yeah, this has been an ultra long episode, so maybe for some hypothetical viewer out there that would be a real treat. Hard to say. But in any case, thank you for watching. This has been Shining Force Final Conflict.